or thereabouts. I'll ask Brenda to start the recording. Thank you, Brenda. Mr. Hammond, will you please call the roll?
Yes, Mark Pellegrino, not here. Wayne Anderson, I don't believe he's here. Bob Hankinson,
Present.
Jennifer Flavin,
Present.
Bob Schwartz,
Present.
Mark Hawk,
Present.
and that's it. We do have a quorum.
All right, first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes of July 6, 2022. Do I hear a motion?
Accept.
Motion made by, I think it was Mr. Schwartz, seconded by Mrs. Flavin. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Mr. Hammond, will you please call the roll?
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Flavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes,
Yes, it's a vote, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. Next item is the approval of bills and orders.
With the following, we have to be paid for Jones Winsett, 110,096. Allied Testing, 1,091.25. And for Renter Crate, we have 5,085 and $3,534.
Is there a motion to approve?
So
to
moved.
approve.
Motion made by Mr. Schwartz, seconded by Mrs. Flavin. Any discussion on the motion? There are none, put the matter to a vote. Dr. Hammond, please call the roll.
Robert Hankinson,
Yes.
Jennifer Flavin,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes.
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
It is a vote.
Next is the report from the OPM. Mr. OPM.
Yes,
Yep.
okay. Thanks, Mark. So I'm going to share my screen, go over the financials. Okay. So again, this is stuff you've seen before, but this is as of August 1st. Scroll to the bottom, our budget of 89.5. We've approved invoices equal to just over 60 million. We have on the far right, eligible for reimbursement, 37 of that 60. And we're anticipating that we'd get back about $30 million of the 60 that's been spent. We're in good shape. We have, we have a bunch of PCOs to talk about today, and we have a bunch of stuff as we're coming towards the close. There's just a lot of details, odds and ends, and things that come up. But we're doing well financially as far as our contingency goes. So we're not worried financially on the status of the project. Talk a little bit about schedule, though. The contractor came to us and said that they just needed more time. There are just too many loose ends. They have certainly supply chain issues that have impacted them along the way that they've been able to work around to a large degree. Bottom line, though, is that they asked for an additional 2 weeks. So we met with the contractor last Wednesday, and that's when they informed us that they just didn't think they were going to be able to make the first day of school for August 29th. So superintendent pushed it out to September 12th. We're still trying to get staff in the building around the 29th so they can set up classrooms and do that sort of stuff. But that'll really depend upon what the building official, when they allow occupancy or partial occupancy of the building. We went through it in pretty good detail today as far as with the contractor on their schedule and what's remaining. Some of our really showstopper type items, technology, the network switches for the school. Sounds like those are in hand now at the subcontractor to the electrician, Micronet, and that those are being programmed. So that's a huge sigh of relief. Because even if the building was ready architecturally, without the switches, we wouldn't be able to occupy. There's going to be a lengthy punch list. There's a lot of stuff happening at the end when it all comes together. You know, one thing to put it all together, it's another thing to turn it on and test it and make sure it works and runs through its system. So we'll be doing that. You know, after hours when the building's occupied, there'll be a lengthy closeout period. The one big issue on the inside of the building that we don't have a date on is the gym flooring. You wouldn't think that maple would be a supply chain issue, but we just can't get a delivery date. The contractor has gotten many delivery dates from their supplier, and the supplier has missed each and every one of those dates. So we're expecting to get the subfloor next week, and that'll take them a couple weeks to install. But we don't even have a date for when the gym flooring, the maple flooring will be in. It's a problem in a lot of ways. We have bleachers that go on that floor that we have to find a home for and, you know, store and somewhere on site, and create some other issues. But that's the biggest issue on the inside of the building at this point, from what we're being told. On the outside of the building, we're getting some of the playground equipment mid-August, so in about a week or so. But to get that area ready, get the playground equipment installed, have that ready to go so that the board in place rubber surface can go in. That's just going to take time. So at best, we would have it mid-September, basically for the start of school, but I would anticipate that we may open school without all the playground areas. The playground areas without board in place rubber surfacing, where we're just putting in bark mulch, those may be able to be ready for school. So as we get closer to the start of school, we'll need to coordinate that with the contractor. But there's still a lot of unknowns out there where, you know, something could come up and really impact us in a negative way. But as of right now, with what's going on site, we think that the contractor can get it to a point where we can get our certificate of occupancy in time for the start of school. Any questions about finances or schedule or any of the changes that have taken place to date before we get into any new ones?
Tim, your the story seems to be different than what the superintendent announced as to the reasons why the school won't be open. Superintendent seemed to be talking more of electrical items as
Well, that's still
opposed
true.
to,
I mean, we have a panel board that we've had a number of panel boards that we've been waiting on. There's one though that we're still waiting on, and it runs our makeup air unit for the kitchen. So your hood in your kitchen exhausts a tremendous amount of air. So
Yeah.
without a makeup air unit, the building would be extremely negative, or at least that area of the building would be very negative. So the electrician is telling us that there could be a workaround for that, even if they don't have that panel board. But it's true that the panel boards have been a problem. Network switches, we didn't find out until, I don't know, maybe Monday or Tuesday, or I guess maybe Monday, that they were actually shipping. Up until that point, Cisco wouldn't provide a date. They would just say, yeah, we have your order, but no date. So that was what our main concern was. The elevator, they got some of their buttons for the elevator. So those are being installed. But again, once they started, you know, they installed the elevator, but once they started working it and operating it, they had a bad panel board or circuit board. So they had to order a new circuit board. So we're waiting on a circuit board. You know, there's a million different things, and we've been able, and the contractor's done a good job at working around most of them to this point. And the idea of, I guess, of what superintendent put out there was just to kind of put a couple examples out, but by no means an inclusive list.
okay,
Well, what Mark put out was what we received from the OPM as far as here's some of the issues. So Mark just basically copy and pasted that. So yeah, those were the issues.
There have also been many issues along the way that are sort of old news, but they have, you know, they were part of what brought us to where we are today, but he didn't want to get into those.
You know, anything electronic has been a problem, and is a problem. And these panel boards, we're lucky that we have the main switchgear and everything that we do have. A lot of this stuff went from, you know, a 3 to 4 month lead time to a 10 to 12 months lead time. So it's just crazy. Things we wouldn't never have expected to be a problem, like maple flooring for the gym, is we can't get a date from the people, and it's not just our job, it's all of them out there. So you know, and things that we're finding out where we've been given dates of when stuff is supposed to arrive, and then it just doesn't show. So it's been a number of things along the way. And again, most of them they've been able to work around, and architecturally, you know, the building is coming together. They're, you know, A wing, we have flooring in the classrooms, ceilings, pads in the hallways, and there's paint on the walls, there's furniture in the classrooms. A C wing, similar, but they're working on the flooring surface in the corridors. B wing is the you know, is there where there's the most work to do, but there's a lot of big spaces in the cafeteria, for instance, the kitchen, the gymnasium, the admin area, the media center. So we're due to receive from Tucker Library the media center shelving coming up. So you know, that is scheduled to go in. All the furniture is still arriving. It started arriving about well, I guess 2 weeks ago, and will continue for the, you know, up until the start of school. It's always a very chaotic period leading up to substantial completion. A little bit more so than usual, I would say, currently.
Any other questions, comments, concerns?
So what, we are beyond the forecasted date of substantial completion now, as I understand it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, we had, when we developed the schedule, we had built in some time for schedule contingency to give us a little bit extra in case something happened. And, you know, so we had a substantial completion date that we had asked them to hit by July 15th. So yes, we are beyond that.
Are you going to forecast another one, or just write out the building and try to complete it as soon as
Well,
we
at this
can?
point, we want occupancy for the 12th. So then we back up for what we need in order to get staff in and you know, fill the building with the materials and the food and the walk-in freezers and all those types of things. And really, we're targeting the end of August, and then so that we can, you know, we'll be flexible with what comes up, but ideally, it would be great if we could have the building by the end of August, and that way, you know, there'd be some time to set things up before school starts.
I personally don't see a problem where teachers couldn't go in to start setting up their classrooms. But I understand the certificate of occupancy. And I think that could be coordinated with the building commissioner, although I don't find him to be a very lenient person, so. but
Well,
it's
they
probably
did
worth
walk
it.
the building last week with the fire department and the building department, just because there's usually a lot of, you know, miscellaneous little things, or each town is a little different with their requirements by the authorities having jurisdiction. So wanted to make sure all signage and those types of things were accounted for, so that we're not hung up with, some of those types of details. And they had a number of different comments, but I don't think, Aviva, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there was anything that I would consider major or significant that they brought to our attention.
No, it was mostly additional signage.
So that's a good thing, is that they've been through the building just as recently as last week. Granted, they're not looking at everything they'll be looking at when we ask them to do a walkthrough for occupancy, but certainly if there was something major, they would have brought it up.
Okay, that's all I have at the moment.
All right, any other questions, comments, concerns? All right, I'm looking at the list. We don't have it. Do we have someone from Jones Whitsett?
Yeah, I could put that up on the screen as well.
That's me from Jones Whitsett, Mark.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing all right. How about you?
Could be better.
So Eva, I don't know if you want to go through these PCOs.
Sure. Yeah, we can talk through these a little bit.
Make it bigger, Tim. Yeah. I can read that without my glasses.
Okay,
Then, so 210, just an update. We're going back and forth between JWA, Colliers, and Bacon, so we don't need to take action on that one at this time. That'll continue to play out. Similarly, 278, the update is that we issued a construction change directive with no cost for this item. That'll continue to be disputed, and we'll continue to work through the channels of that process. 301, there was an outrigger between A-wing and the connecting corridor, basically that needs to be cut back to allow the soffit to run continuously. So we're still working out some particulars around timing and around certain costs associated with this, but the recommendation would be to approve it at a not to exceed for $8,924. Tim, since I don't usually do this, do we go through them one by one at that point, or do we?
no, just keep going. We'll go
Okay.
through them all, and
Okay.
then we'll just get one vote at the end.
Excellent. 306, basically it's a round column. This is on the floor above the media center. There's a round column in the media center, and that continues all the way up. In the architectural drawings, we were showing a rectangular column above, but we understand why it went to a round column from the structural sub. So just a small change of changing the detail there. 308, the lightning rod that's required at the A-wing happens to travel up through the soffit and the eave exactly at the point where an outrigger hits. We can cut that outrigger, so it's just the work. This is another one where we're still sort of negotiating the exact details, but it shouldn't be more than this 8,924. 311, this is a room that is 2-hour rated and has electrical equipment in it. So there's a sprinkler head that's already been installed, but we don't want to have sprinklers in that room, so we'll just be removing the head, patching. This is a 312 is a very small detail where there's a CMU wall that then meets a steel beam, and from above you can see sort of the edge of the CMU. So this vinyl trim piece would basically close that opening that you would see that into. 313, this is at the right corner, northeast corner at the upper levels of B wing above the kitchen. So just a unique condition where two different systems are meeting. And there's an additional piece of flashing that is required. 319 required a small expansion of a chase based on the flange on the ductwork that would otherwise protrude into the room, B321. 325, we rejected. It was a request for additional money for a soffit, but we believe that that soffit is clearly shown on the contract documents. 326, this is adding detectable warning pavers, those plates that have the round bumps on them in the sidewalk that you find at curbs. There's some ambiguity about if these are required, but they are like the main signal that people who are blind use to know where the edge of a curb is at a curb cut. So we're recommending that one. This is a unique condition 327, where we need a rated column based on the way that the walls are meeting. We had to change the detail. We worked that out in the field with the contractor and the drywall sub. 329, the storefront windows at the C wing. We changed that long ago, all the way back in PR 19. So the masonry veneer above turns out to require some lintels. So this is just an additional add. Close that out. And then 330, the structure that holds stair 3, which is the stringer, it's a C channel, is lower on the cafeteria side than expected by MAB. Anything that's lower than 6'8" requires a cane detection so that someone who's blind won't, walk into it and hit their head. So access is under the stairs is still possible. It shouldn't create an impediment to the sink. But on the cafeteria side, we just need that addition.
So those that are being recommended for approval is $51,367 of a not to exceed. And again, some of these will be done on time and material basis so that we're not wasting time negotiating back and forth on what we think it should take them. We'll just pay for what it actually takes.
Is there a motion to approve as presented for 51,367 not to exceed?
So moved.
Second,
Made by Ms. Flavin, seconded by Mr. Hankinson. Any discussion on the motion?
the only comment I have is that I'm a visual type person and I would have liked to have seen pictures of these situations so I have a better understanding of what the corrective action would be. I've made that comment before and the pictures seem to be coming and someone has forgotten to take pictures again. So I just want to remind those people that can do the pictures that I would like to see the pictures. Thank you.
Sure.
Any discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, Mr. Hammond, please call the roll.
Bob Hankinson,
yes,
Jennifer Flavin,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Bob Schwartz,
Yes,
Mark Hawk.
Yes.
It's a vote.
You can put me
Dr.
down.
Hammond.
Hey, Steve?
Oh,
Oh.
you're here. I didn't see you were here. Wayne.
Yes. So put me down for I'm here and the resounding yes.
Okay, thank you.
Same here, Dr. Heaven, Mike Nicholson.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, you weren't at the beginning, that's why I didn't have you in. Okay. All right, got it. Thank you. It's a vote.
All right. Anything else from the architects?
if I can share screen, I have the latest drone footage if folks would like to see that.
Mentioned that earlier to him, and I sent them the link Aviva, that Steve's going to send out, but it'd be nice if you could show it also.
Sure. So this is coming up from Pearl Street towards the building. You can see that there's been quite a lot of progress on the veneers around the building, the brick and the GFRC panels. They're putting in, the roof is pretty close to complete at this point. They're putting in a lot of the storefront and curtain wall panels, including some of the colored glass starting to go in along the front of B wing. That's your main entry. So this is coming down the hallway in C wing towards the satellite media and stair 1 on the right. So all the cubbies, we've got the floors in. Here's our vinyl graphic in the atrium area of A wing. We've got a typical classroom with the desks already in and the chairs being installed. Cabinetry and casework has been proceeding really well, very rapidly moving along, including things like the wood trim around the windows. That's the main teaching wall with the repeater above, secondary teaching. Here's our teacher planning room, lots of cabinetry and storage for the teachers to work with, and those lockers for the para-professionals. That's the graphic going in at C wing atrium. This is B wing, obviously still more in progress, but coming along very quickly. Looking through on the second floor hallway down into the gymnasium. And that's what we got for you.
Good.
What was the date on that? When
June
you guys did it? I
19th.
couldn't see it. Oh, June 19th. Okay. Thank you.
A lot has happened in those 2 weeks. The lantern is just about complete.
Yes, it's yeah, it was actually June 19th. So it's been more than a month since that date.
Oh, I'm sorry, June, yes. Anything else?
Yeah.
You?
Nope, that's what I've got for you.
Excellent. Any old business, Dr. Hammond?
None that I'm aware of.
How about new business, Dr. Hammond?
None that I'm aware of. I think we've covered everything.
All right, other business come before the subcommittee. We determined none. Public comment, is there any public comment?
At this point, I've got no comment. We had some pretty good answers to the follow-up on the delay. Thank you.
The next meeting is September 7th.
Yeah.
And we're in line for adjournment. Motion made by Mrs. Plavin, seconded by Mr. Hankinson. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, and I'll see you next month.
Right.
Good. Bye.
Good seeing
Thank
everybody.
you, everybody.
Take care. Good night. Bye-bye.